over again here this afternoon, and we're going to get straight into the action because already Alex Rouleau has descended upon this stage. I'm Dan McCarthy. Former competitor Nick Lenthal is alongside me to talk us through all of the action. It's going to be a thrilling afternoon, Nick, and we're going to start things off with the serious boys. Hayden Paddon, Alex Rouleau, Alistair McRae. They're all about to head to right where we are.
We have a host of really, really good cars coming through. Alex Rouleau and Hayden Paddon are not far away from our vantage point here. I would say we're probably a minute in our hands before we get to see them come through at full noise. We're on a road junction on Marble Hill Road turning into Corkscrew Road. So they're coming from a reasonably tight section into an extra tight section followed by a flowing one.
I can hear them, Nick. So we are just seconds away from seeing the first of the Hyundai. So we've got two Hyundai i20N Rally 2 cars that will hit the stage first, including former Supercars driver Alex Rouleau, the youngest ever Supercars driver, and he'll be directly followed by WRC Rally winner Hayden Paddon as the first two cars through this section of the stage. And here is last year's Shannon's Adelaide Rally winner Alex Rouleau, who sits second on the timesheets at the moment after the morning loop of stages. And he is in position number 2, 33 seconds behind Hayden Paddon. That is the results as of right this moment. And here is our rally leader, first time here in the Adelaide Rally. Oh, sliding it sideways through there, Nick.
Yeah, it's good to see. Really committed through there, and you can see even in that short space of time that we watch those two cars, you can see where the time's being made up. More commitment, probably a little better on the notes maybe. And as we spoke about earlier, you've got to know exactly how you're going to tackle these hairpins before you get to them. Don't try anything new. Hayden is, that's Alex, is it? He's on on the handbrake, and then four-wheel drive pulling the car out of the corner. Got to get the apex just right for this one. There we go, so a double apex, and he's away. You could see Hayden's car moving.
That was huge.
That was big.
Wide through the right-hander, lost the rear, left in the dirt. What a catch.
That was a good catch. Thank goodness for four-wheel drive. As we have we have Stuart Reid now coming down to our point. Let's see if Stuart's got the same kind of commitment as what Hayden had.
Doesn't look like it at this point, does it? Look at the flames spitting out the back. How cool is that?
And look, thanks to our drone man Luke there, getting that fantastic shot of Alex getting right out into the grass. Now we've got Oscar Matthews, a lot of local knowledge here. Mitsubishi Evo, he's going to be having a red hot go here because he'd know this road. He knows the surroundings of the Adelaide Hills. It's where he was brought up, and he'll be benchmarking himself against these guys.
He's best of the rest. Behind those two Hyundai drivers, Oscar Matthews currently sits in position number 3, 13 seconds ahead of Irishman Frank Kelly, who we'll see in a few moments' time. And then a further 15 seconds behind that, we have Jack Monkhouse, then Reid and McRae, both of them just 4 seconds behind. So it's so incredibly tight in the sort of midfield, really from position 5 down. Monkhouse, Reid, McRae and Selly all within 8 seconds at the moment.
As we see Josh Redhead going through. Josh is the current New South Wales rally champion, and he'd be looking to get a good time together down here. Josh not quite up there at the moment, but he's in position 9. But as we said, the gaps are not great. We've probably done 50k of competitive rallying by now today. So we see Matthew Selly going through in the Mitsubishi Evo with Hamish McKendrick alongside. Let's see what Matt is doing with these hairpins.
Former winner of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally a couple of years ago, sat last year out, but he knows these stages better than pretty much anybody here this weekend. Here is Alistair McRae.
Listen to that Escort. That is a KGP 2.5 litre engine with around 350 horsepower, and he is up it.
A little bit of a lock-up for him through one of those left-handers there as he tried to rotate the car. The Escort is so well suited to these tight little hairpins that he is about to descend upon. Of course, the Escort is such a nimble beast. Here is Frank Kelly, the Irishman we were just talking about, always known for sliding his car baby blue around.
Look at this.
And he is doing so right here in front of our very eyes. Through the left, through the right. Look at that, he's just nailing every apex, running a bit wide, getting a late apex and swinging it through these sequence of S's. This is a great drive from him, as we say, in position number 4 currently.
And as we said, different engines and gearboxes in this car. This is a Samsonis sequential gearbox and a Millington engine. And here's our local crowd pleaser, Jack Monkhouse, in the 180V Triple S. The old Datto. There's nothing much old in this car, I can tell you. It's all new. And there's a lot of smarts in this car. Don't be fooled by its classic exterior. It is a weapon, especially in the hands of Jumping Jack.
He told me yesterday, oh, I'm only here for a bit of fun. Rubbish. He's position 5. He's ahead of the likes of Alistair McRae. He is taking this as seriously as anybody. Don't you worry about that.
And why wouldn't you, Dan? When you're a local and you get a chance to benchmark yourself against people from all over the world, especially guys who've won European, British championships and so on. As we see Andre Lukas come into view. Andre, seasoned competitor in this event. This is a SR20 Turbo Nissan 200SX, and Andre also lots of local knowledge, lots of past experience. Won't be slow. I think he will probably use the handbrake further down. So we see Tom Dermody. Now Tom Dermody has provided the Mark II Escort for Alistair McRae to drive. This is Tom's Mark I. Tom's a frequent visitor to the Adelaide Motorsport Festival in the motorcycles and to our Adelaide rallies with an Escort. Always brings an Escort. It's a good man.
Last year he won the older school competition class, so we've got Rally Pro and competition in one outright class, and then we have the old school class for cars over the age or before the year of 1985. He won that last year, but he's got stiff competition this year with the likes of Jack Monkhouse, a 2-time winner in that class back this year.
And all the way from Indonesia,
yes,
the Indonesian contingent led by Rifat, and this is Ryan, the current Indonesian champion. This is a great looking car, and I'm really keen to see how he attacks these roads.
Yeah, Ryan Nirwin, although he is Indonesian, as you say, he did tell me he lived in Brisbane for a good decade, so he's back in Australia and thoroughly enjoying his time here racing international for the first time, his first ever tarmac rally, Nick. Despite being an Indonesian champion, he's never driven on tarmac before. This man has, Rifat Sungkar, a veteran of Indonesian competition. This is a big beast of a thing, the Mitsubishi Expander, not a car that we have here in Australia, but a 7-seater SUV in Indonesia, the biggest selling car in the country, 1.5 tons. It is a big beast on these nimble roads, and you look a bit concerned because there's a bit of smoke coming out the back of Nick Strakaisen's 944.
Nick Strakaisen and Mike Dale, seasoned competitors in this event. It's a turbo, and Mike would have tinkered with this car and fettled it to perfection. He'd be getting as much horsepower out of that on the dyno as possible. And look, they've been together a long time, this pairing. They know exactly their own strengths. Nick is a very good driver. You'll often see him in a Nissan GDR 35. And this is more of a historic approach for Nick. But he's had podiums in this event before, and let's just watch their hairpin work, see how they're going. And he's chosen to steer the car through the hairpins, just get it wide in the entry and choose your entry and exit points and just steer it through.
Strakaisen's in a great battle with Andre Lukas in that Nissan 200 SX we saw, so only 12 seconds between them, and directly behind Strakaisen, Kaplan is only 4 seconds behind as well, so those guys are positions 12 through to 14, very, very tightly matched. This is our youngest combination in the category this year, a 20-year-old driver behind the wheel of the Hyundai. It's Mohammed behind the wheel of that one there that we're looking at right here.
and David McDonough in the Ford Capri Piranha, a big V8 engined Ford Capri, just making his way down the hill, and Lockie Cox in the Mark 1 Escort having a red hot go. You can see the inside front wheel lifting on that car as he goes through the tightest of the corners. He was looking for a sway bar this week because he apparently broke one, and I'm not surprised, having watched that car lift its front wheels through here. He's a really keen punter, lives on the Lobethal Road, and he'd know these roads intimately.
He is in position number 16 at the moment. So he's having a good solid event, is the bright green Escort. But it looks to me like our Indonesian visitor is being caught through the tight nature of these turns. Mohamed Moreno just being caught, isn't he, at the moment, by the Capri. Here, this is one of my favourites in the class this year, the Ford GT 350 Shelby Mustang of Dan Bowden.
And a gorgeous car it is. Dan Bowden, of course, a famous car collector out of Queensland. And this car looks and sounds epic. It's a beautiful car. And we see the Porsche of Zach Hegde coming down the hill. Zach has been in this event many times in this car. And he also now rallies on gravel, so he's clearly besotted by the sport, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. He finished, he got on the podium in the older class cars, just about qualifies 1985, as we say, the classic competition class for 1986 and older, so just about fits in, and got himself a well-deserved class podium last year. But as we say, the competition is stiff in that class this year, with so many Ford Escorts in particular. He's navigating these corners very nicely at the moment. Smooth is the best way to describe his driving style.
Dan, I've just realised we haven't seen Jonathan Moyer come through in the Escort. And I really hope that he hasn't had any major problem with that car, because we really want to see it all weekend.
Well, that's a very interesting point you raised, Nick, because the last update I had, he was running in the top 5, and now I look and I don't see him there anymore. No, the last couple of stages results that I've been given, he has fallen by the wayside by the looks of it. What a shame. He was inside the top 3, wasn't he, at the start in the first couple of stages, but in the last couple he has dropped by the wayside. So I think some sort of issue for that car. What a shame.
Very, very good car, very fast car, and a guy who wasn't afraid to use it. In his recent performance in the Great Tarmac Rally, he was well down the field on the Sunday and came back to make up a lot of time on the people in front of him. Over 2 minutes in 100 kilometres of competitive stages. So, look, we don't know what's wrong with it, but let's hope it's a minor thing, and Jonathan can have the beautiful Flash Motorsport Escort back out on the stages tomorrow.
Yeah, it looks like that's happened after this stage. He completed this stage, and then after that, he hit problems. I think on stage 5, not sure exactly off the top of my head what stage 5 is, but that's where he has hit problems. As you see, the Abarth Berliner going through, driven by Michael Lowe, another in that historic competition category, Nick.
Dan, I've just had a message from Roger Lohman, who's also a long-time competitor in this event, and he believes that Jono did a dry sump pump. So obviously without that, you know, any running of the engine will be very detrimental to it. So it might have been just decided to switch it off and not hurt it, or it may be a catastrophe. Don't know. Yesterday we actually spoke with Jonathan Moyer about that car. I think we've actually seen that's the full of our field of our competitive cars.
Yes, it is. Yes, correct.
Let's see what Jonathan had to say about that beautiful Flash Motorsport Escort. Not only did he have a hiccup with the dry sump pump, we just had a hiccup with his interview. So we'll bring you that to you. We'll bring you that later. We're just watching the course closing car go through for the competitive category, and we'll have some more cars to come through very, very shortly. We did talk about spectator points. It's probably a little bit too late for you to get to Stafford Hill Climb now. But if you wanted to come out tomorrow and see the cars in person, then head out to Hermitage. If you go on the Adelaide Rally website, click on Entrance and you'll see Route, and you just go to the Day 2 maps and it will show you the Hermitage stage. Where you want to go is the hairpin where Seaview Road joins the other road.
I can't help you with that one. I don't know that side of town.
It might be One Tree Hill Road, but it will be pretty obvious that it's a very, very sharp hairpin. If you go through Golden Grove, you'll be coming in the right direction. If you try to get there the other way, you'll get stopped because of the road closures. So if you want to see the cars up close, in action, Hermitage tomorrow morning.
Not only Hermitage, you've got a lot of spectator-friendly stages tomorrow, haven't we? Wairoa, of course, we are going to in the afternoon, but that is not the only one. Of course, they also have the Gucha Street Party on Saturday night. But the Millbrook stage, Nick, that's at around lunchtime tomorrow, the Millbrook stage. Then 3 o'clock is the Wairoa special stage. But let's not forget one of the big stages on the rally. There's a prize on offer just for this stage alone, the Windy Point stage, Nick.
Fabulous stage. And they're going uphill.
Yeah.
Different to previous years. I never drove it uphill. I drove it downhill a few times, and it's just a brilliant stretch of road, and it's got its own built-in spectator point with Windy Point Lookout. Now, if you want to go there, you're going to have to get into the lookout before they close the road, because they won't let you anywhere near it once the road is closed. But Windy Point, you can go down Gloucester Avenue at Belair and choose any of the roads that you turn right onto, and you can drive down those roads, park, and you'll get a good vantage point. It's like a natural amphitheatre, Dan, when you're sitting on the side of the hill there, and you'll find there'll be many, many people, probably thousands of people on that stage, watching the cars come up Windy Point Road.
Oh, yeah, I have a few mates that often go to that one, being a local lad of that area, Belair, Blackwood. A lot of my mates always go to that stage, so yeah, it's always a spectacular one. That's where I saw my first Adelaide Rally stage, Nick. I probably saw you competing there. It was downhill that year. That was where I saw my first Adelaide Rally stage. Nick Lenthal alongside myself, Dan McCarthy. Nick, a former competitor in the rally, and that's why he'll often talk about escorts like there's no tomorrow. This is where we are located, just next to that church inside the van. So great work from the Streamcraft media team to bring us all of the action from the Adelaide Hills. We're around 500 metres from sea level. We're pretty high here. Not quite Windy Point, not quite Mount Lofty high, but nevertheless pretty high up in the Adelaide Hills, a glorious part of the world. And we've said, Nick, earlier on today, it's just 20 minutes from the CBD. I know, it's a privilege, isn't it? That's why you can't do this in Sydney or Melbourne, because you'd have to drive for 2 hours to get out of town and get out of the traffic and onto the roads, and then you probably couldn't close them anyway. But with the help of the South Australian Government, we're able to organise these road closures through Tim Possingham and his team of helpers. And once those road closures are sanctioned, which takes a lot of time and work, the police then implement those road closures so that when you're on a competitive stage, which is timed to the second, these drivers have all the road to themselves. There's no cars coming the other way. No cars can enter the road from side roads. They're blocked off as well. So safety is paramount, and that's the way that Tim and his crew prioritise for this event. Absolutely. Look at that shot. That
Don't you love a drone?
Awesome. Yeah, look at that. You got the sea view. You got a shot there. We're just panning through. We'll see the CBD in a few moments as well. Here we are. We're on with the first of the tours, Nick. So that was the pro and competition class that we just saw. But stay with us. In around about an hour and a half time, we will get some more timed categories back out there. We'll have the challenge class and the TSD class as well. But for now, we're going to slow things down a little bit. look at some of these very, very expensive road cars. So not the race rally cars, but some road-going machines. And we're kicking things off with possibly the most expensive tour of the lot, Nick, the Zagame Tour.
We are down 59 cars, another category that's grown since last year. Here's a bit of info to whet your appetite. 14 Ferraris, 13 Porsches, 9 McLarens and 6 Lamborghinis. That enough for you?
Well, there's more.
There's more. as the man said, wait, there's more. Mercedes, Abarth, BMW, Aston Martins, Maseratis, and there's even a very unique Toyota Corolla Gazoo Racing, driven by John Paul Drake, who's a guy known to us through the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. He's a stalwart competitor.
Absolutely, we just saw him going through in the number 13 machine. Yeah, that's a pretty new machine, the Corolla GR. Here we have a good old McLaren hitting the strip. We got all your McLarens covered, whether that's a 570, a 650, a 675. We've got them all sorted for you in the Shannon's Adelaide Rally this year. This is a great group of cars. There is the Lamborghini Urus of Scott Pye going through. So great to see Scott Pye here this weekend. A co-driver, of course, with 888 Race Engineering. Things didn't quite go his way with Will Brown this year. Generally, Brown's qualifying meant that they were catching up through most of the endurance races, but sort of by the midway point, they were there or thereabouts, very much in the fight. However, things just didn't fall their way late on in the race. Of course, the Bathurst 1000 this year will go down as a true classic that will be remembered for decades.
Great race. I think the viewing audience must have just about doubled for that race this year. It was huge.
It certainly was. And as well, because it was wet all day long pretty much, it went into the news, the start of the news. So that meant that people who weren't tuned into the Bathurst 1000, who wanted to watch the news, then ended up watching the Bathurst 1000 around the country. So that spiked the viewers even more for the end of the race. So yeah, certainly will be remembered for years to come, that one. First victory for Matt Payne, and the final victory, of course, for Garth Tender, who's recently announced his retirement from supercars competition. But on the screen at the moment, we don't have any Chevrolets and Fords. We've got some German brands in Porsche and BMW.
And the Bavarian Motorworks, BMW. Lots of German cars in this event. We do have a Mercedes Tour, a BMW Mini Tour, and Porsche. There's a couple of Porsche tours, the Porsche Club and the Porsche Centre Tour, as we see a speedster going through. So there's Craig Cahoon in the Spider, and a Corvette.
That sounded like it locked up to me. Could hear that from where we are located. Yep. It was a little bit of a moment for that particular driver. Just trying to see. Ah, yes, it looks like that's Graham George behind the wheel of his Porsche Z06, or as they'd say in America, Z06. And seeing it's built in America, they might be correct on that one, actually.
Corvette Z06 or Z, depending on which side of the book you read.
Yeah, exactly right.
But yeah, a very attractive looking car. Of course, Corvettes have really come into their own just lately with the release of their latest mid-engine car. With, to me, not unashamedly looking like a Ferrari, but I don't know if that was intentional or not, but certainly some new styling cues from the US.
You're not the only one to say that. There's often Corvettes going through the hills, and a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, what Ferrari is that?" No, it's not an Italian machine. No, it's not a prancing
American
horse.
muscle. Yeah.
Exactly. Boy, oh boy, GM sort of changing their outlook at the moment, not only with Corvette, but also with Cadillac as well, of course. Really getting involved in motorsports in the recent times, and not only in the World Endurance Championship. Of course, they took pole position at the Le Mans 24 Hours this year, and they have taken a race victory as well in the World Endurance Championship. But of course, entering Formula One next year with South Australian's own Valtteri Bottas.
Well,
we've seen he's just bought a winery at McLaren Vale.
The part-time Finn.
Yeah, exactly. Part-time Finn, full-time South Australian.
Full-time Ocker. Yes, with the blonde mullet, Valtteri Bottas. Boy, if anyone has ever embraced Australia as their new home, it's that guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Just bought a winery, so we've taught him the other parts of living in Australia as well, especially South Australia. So he'll be a part of our wine industry, which makes him... next he'll get a tattoo of South Australia. But we're watching these gorgeous cars come through. Lamborghinis, McLarens, Ferraris, all products that you can buy from the Zagame outlets, one on Glen Osmond Road and the other one in the city, of course, with Ferrari. But on Glen Osmond Road you'll find McLaren, Lamborghini, Lotus, Bentley, and in the city Ferrari. So they've really got a magnificent range of cars. You couldn't go wrong with one of those.
No, absolutely not. As through goes the SUV, followed by the beloved Aston Martin. But yeah, a bit of a different beast, that one. The Ferrari SUV, very new to the Ferrari range. Of course, for many years they wouldn't touch anything like this, but in this day and age they've certainly moved around a little bit, and that's 2024 Paro Sangue. I will research how to say that correctly for tomorrow, but one of the new ones to the range, and to be honest, it's not really my kettle of fish, and that's probably why I don't know how to pronounce it like I would some of their supercars and their hypercars. I certainly know how to pronounce them, Nick.
Yes, Dan, you've been working on it, I can tell. But I'll just throw in some German beer names and that'll be the end. So, but yeah, it's good to see the Lambos out there. They always have a characteristic note.
Yes.
The V10s are our favourite, but they're all
V12s? V12s?
Oh no, the V10s are still our fave. And we'll probably get to hear a bit of that when we do the Strathalbyn stage on Sunday. We're very close to the start line and we get to see them. There's a Testarossa, or a testosterone as they were sometimes known in England back in their day.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a Testarossa in person before.
Ah, you would have, Dan.
I'm not sure I have.
Man,
that is a rare car. I don't think there'd be a handful in Australia, let alone in South Australia. There are not many Testarossas around these days. A car built back in the mid-80s, 1985. And boy, oh boy, did they look unique at the time. They're so wide, aren't they? Particularly at the rear.
Another one of those poster cars that we alluded to early.
As is this. An even older Ferrari. So this shows, doesn't it, in the Zagame Tour, it's not just about the modern stuff, it's about the old stuff as well. So this car, the 365 GTB.
Front engine, V12, carburettors, 6 dual throat carburettors standing up on top of the engine. What a joy to behold. And that's the thing with Enzo's cars, that not only were they effective, but they were artistic. They were artistic, and Enzo actually aspired to be an opera singer at one point there, so to him the voice of the car was equally important, and hence the glorious tones that you get out of Ferraris.
Enzo Ferrari sadly passing away at the in the year 1988, a year that was dominated by McLaren with Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. They won all but one race that year, and what race was it? It was the Italian Grand Prix, just weeks after the passing of Enzo Ferrari. It really was fitting and almost meant to be, you could say, really, that Ferrari won just the one race that year, and it happened to be the first Italian Grand Prix since the passing of Enzo Ferrari. But isn't it funny, all these years later, McLaren have soared back to the front of Formula One competition this year, with Australian Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris going hammer and tongs at the front of the Formula One World Championship. I think that looks to me like we have concluded the Zagame Tour. So we've got another tour coming up next. The Zagame Tour has concluded. Up next we have the BMW and Mini Tour, and here's a bit about that category. BMW and Mini Tour contains 32 BMWs and Minis. It features mainly modern machinery, but a couple of old classics as well. There's no shortage of BMW M products, from the M2 all the way up to the M5, and there's a variety of Coopers in there as well. just back in time. The first car is just going through this section of road. I can hear, unless it's those Ferraris that I can still hear at the bottom of the hill. You know what, Nick? I think it is. Here is our first BMW coming through now. But that was the Ferraris I could still hear at the bottom of the hill. Shows how loud they are. Despite some of their ages, some of them being old-fashioned, they still make a good noise.
They do. And we've seen some good Ferraris today. I attended an event a few weeks ago. There was a Ferrari 330 GTC there, which was a 60s car, and it was for sale for $700,000. So, you know, old cars still fetch good money, sometimes even more than the new ones.
They certainly do. As I said, in that little package, we got a huge array of BMW machinery. All of the range of the M products, really, from the M2 through to the M5. Anyway, I don't think we've got any M6s here this year. We did in years gone by. But BMW, a brand that's been around motorsport for many years, in sports car competition particularly, but currently as well, both in WEC and in IMSA competition. But an iconic manufacturer, that is for sure, and a brand that has dominated production car racing in this country for a number of years. They have won every iteration of the Bathurst 6 Hour since it started nearly 10 years ago. And not just that, they've locked out the podium on many of those occasions as well. They really are a fantastic, reliable product, and that is why they've dominated the Australian production car scene for so many years.
Dan, just watching these cars coming down the hill, and you notice that these guys, they're not rally competitors. You know, there might be this one day a year that they're driving these roads that are closed. And the hardest thing for them to do is to come to grips with the fact that they can use all the road, because they're so used to looking out for other cars and driving on their correct side of the road. But even between this morning and this afternoon, you could see that they're getting a little bit more adventurous and starting to clip apexes and set up their lines for corners. But when you watch the guys at the front, they take to it instantly because the road's there to be used. But as you go down to the more social aspects of the event, I'm sure the co-drivers are saying, "Mate, you can use the other lane. It's okay."
On my European adventure earlier this year, driving on the wrong side of the road, it just feels so foreign. It just doesn't feel right. And yeah, it's a bizarre thing. We certainly clipped a few curbs, but fortunately we had good insurance.
Yes, I've been through it myself. How many times did you get it wrong?
Twice.
Yeah, once for me. I drove down a street on the wrong side of the road.
If we're counting wrong way down the street, many times.
Oh. Righto. We're just watching the BMW Coupe go through there. I think a 633 that was, CSI, and a little broad-speed Mini, the Coupe, as they were in the 60s. And Brian Foley, who was a Alfa Romeo and Mini dealer, I think might even have organised the fitment of the adaptation of those broad-speed shells, which a lot of guys chose to race that format.
1966 that car was built. Jonathan Morris at the wheel of the bright green machine. Castrol green is the colour is described. Look at that, indicating. You don't need to do that.
Old habits die hard.
That's exactly right, yes. Oh dear. That's quite funny. So we've seen some people keeping in their lanes, very well mannered. We're now seeing indication out there on the course. So certainly, as you say, old habits die hard, and we're seeing that out here on display in front of us. A good range of minis as well, Nick, from John Cooper Works, convertibles through to the Cooper S and all things in between. But it looks like that is going to be the end of the BMW and Mini Tour, with the course car just at the tail. But there's the convertible. That's awesome. The John Cooper Works convertible. That'd be worth $1 or $2.
It would. And look, when you talk to young kids today, that's a Mini, as they know it.
Yeah.
That's their idea of a Mini. And you have to sort of explain to them that once upon a time there was a different car called a Mini. And I think that's why they had to make a remake of the Italian Job, so that they could get the cars right.
As we say, that does conclude the BMW and Mini Tour. Up next, a bit like the Zagame, we've got a whole range of cars in Solitaire Automotive. To know a bit more about what cars are about to come through, here's a package.
Tour returned to the Shannon's Adelaide Rally in 2024, and this group contains a large amount of supercars, but also sports cars. 6 manufacturers are within the tour, including Audis, Aston Martins, Alfa Romeos, Cupras, Jaguars, and even Land Rovers.
We're starting off, Nick, with my favourites, the Aston Martins coming through. There's a very new one. That was the DBS, I think that was, just as we saw. It's going to be the next car to come through. There's the 179 Aston Martin, one of the Vantages. There's a familiar looking car. That looks exactly like the Formula 1 safety car, doesn't it? The same colour and model and everything. That is the 178 machine. So that is the 2023 model Aston Martin Vantage. So we've got a couple of models since then. But so we move straight on from Astons to Alphas just in a couple of moments. There's the first of them. But look at these last two Aston Martins going through, including the V12 Vantage in there as well. Such a mixture of cars. Which ones take your fancy, Nick? Do you like the Italian Alphas? Do you like the British Aston Martins? Or maybe even a German Audi in this range as well?
Well, that Alfa Romeo 4C that just went through is a beautiful shape. And right from day one, when they were released, I thought that was a gorgeous car. And a quick car too, but hard to knock back an Aston Martin, Dan, of any vintage. I mean, James Bond did his best to make them an iconic car.
Now this is something a bit different out there. Bjorn Wharf behind the wheel of the DBX 707. The DBX X because it's extra large, I reckon. So yeah, that's the reason for the X. But
Expander.
Yeah, correct. Yes. No, the SUV. I'm not an SUV person by nature, but even I think that is a gorgeous looking SUV. Aston Martin just know how to nail the styling, don't they? That is for sure. That is right there, before the Land Rover, a current Aston Martin Vantage that we see as the official safety car for Formula 1. So that is a current, brand new 2025 Aston Martin Vantage. The first of many brand new cars that we're going to see in the next few tours. That's one of the great things about this event, the fact that we get to see these new cars revealed in front of our very eyes.
Yeah, it is. We've had a couple each year, haven't we, Dan? Various brands, shapes and sizes. Ferrari are notorious for bringing something along that we haven't seen before. And the Toyota Yaris GRs and the Corolla GRs we saw early.
The Land Rover is as well. That Land Rover following the Aston Martin, that's a brand new...
Range Rover, is it?
Oh, sorry, Range Rover it is.
Yep.
Yes, Range Rover Sport.
Yep. Lovely cars. I had the pleasure of being involved with Land Rover, Range Rover for a handful of years, and they make beautiful product.
They certainly do.
There's nothing like a Rangy.
As do Audi, the four-circled brand from Germany. Such history and heritage in Audi. As they swing it through the left-hander, of course, they're getting a bit more involved in Formula 1 with the Sauber Formula 1 team over the next couple of years. Of course, Nico Hülkenberg and Gabriele Bortoleto, the reigning Formula 2 champion, those two drivers. You got a veteran and a young up-and-comer. A lot of people laughed at me early in the season when I said, look at Bortoleto, he's a star of the future and possibly the best of this fantastic bunch that's made their debut this year. But I think Bortoleto really has proven that in the last few races. He really has got stronger as the year has gone on, and I really do think the Brazilian will be around for many years to come.
Well, it mirrors the discussion that we had with Rifat Sungar, that you need new people. You need new people in your sport, and that then engages new people in your audience. Look, it's great to have those guys who are the stalwarts, the champions, to prevail, but it's also essential that you get new people on board. Sébastien Ogier, you cannot question his skill as a driver. He's a multiple World Rally champion, as was Loeb. But we need the guys like Martin Sesks, Sami Piari, Oliver Solberg. We need to give them a run so that we can not only inject new drivers into the formula, but we inject a new audience, because they're young people. I mean, Kalle Rovanperä was the youngest world champion ever.
Yeah. Yep.
And he would have his own following. And, you know, he'll be on social media saying, all I want is a Toyota 86 from, 1980 or whatever it was. So he's going to have his own particular type of fans. And it's essential for any category of sport, whether it's cricket or motorsport or world rally or whatever, that you have this constant evolution of drivers and fans.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen Jaguars go down the hill, a lot of F-Paces. I did see a nice, relatively new F-Pace SVR, the top-of-the-range F-Pace model, which is really cool to see that one. Oh, sorry, F-Types, that was an F-Pace, though. F-Pace SVR. But Jaguar, of course, not involved in Formula One anymore, but they are involved in the all-electric Formula E Championship, and front runners in that they have been for many, many years. In recent years, with Kiwi Mitch Evans behind the wheel, he certainly had a fair bit of success with that outfit. And through they go then, the last really of the Jaguars within that class. Really cool to see. And then it looks to me like straight away we're on with the Mercedes tour, Nick. Straight away, don't get a break. The front runners in the Mercedes are quickly catching up with the tail gunners in the Jaguars.
And this is another brand, Dan, that has SUVs that have no right to be as effective as they are as performance cars. We noticed this at Strathalbyn last year when we had some of these Mercedes SUVs taking off to start the stage next to us, and the horsepower and torque of those cars, which you take the kids to school in on Monday morning, they are rockets.
Yeah.
So we've got the expected weapons of choice, the C63 sedans and coupes. We've got the AMG hatches, which probably the younger guys might defer to those. They've been a weapon of choice over the last few years for young, upwardly mobile guys to jump in and drive a turbocharged four-cylinder car that goes like a rocket. So there's quite a lot of diversity in these cars, but all very effective. And got a bunch of owners out there joining in with the Mercedes Tour, which will represent the dealerships in Unley and down at Mile End, and enjoying the brand, sharing stories with each other, and working out which one they're going to trade in on and get the next one for next year.
That's a bit of an older spec Mercedes that we're looking at the moment, 2014 Mercedes-Benz C63. We've got modern C63s from the last couple of years, but that's one of the early ones from the mid-teens, 2015. Of course, that was the year that Mercedes joined V8 supercars with the E63. That sounded like a big moment, didn't it?
Sounded like let's give the ABS a bit of a workout and see if it see what it does.
But yes, of course, the C63 has been very, very popular, but as I say, the E63 raced in supercars for quite a number of years, and a couple of race victories were taken by Lee Holdsworth, if memory serves me correctly. So it wasn't a terribly successful operation for them for the 3 years that they were in the sport, but they did get a couple of wins through it throughout. But of course, the Mercedes sports car, the AMG GT, of course, competes internationally in GT3 competition.
Leading the pack, you can see it there. Beautiful looking car. I was lucky enough to have a drive of one on the Gorge Road a few years back, and yeah, I mean, you've got to have some luck, don't you, to get a ride like that.
Sounds like you've had a lot of luck. You've told me about a lot of cars that you've driven today.
No, but yeah, really enjoyable car to drive. Plenty of hoot, no doubt about that. And a beautifully styled car as well. And that distinctive sound of their V8s. We talked about it earlier at the 12-hour when Mercedes were racing the 12-hour, and just this low rumble of their V8s. Very distinctive and very, very chest out macho, I must say.
And
impressive sound.
That's the SUV we're looking at the moment, the GLC 63S. So, yeah, the S referring to the fact that that is the sports model, the top-of-the-range, fastest SUV that they are offering. And that is brand new. That is the 2025 version of that car. So great to have that a part of the event this year. Through they go. And there's the Lightning McQueen one again. I'm going to talk about that every single time it goes through, with the stickers emblazoned all over the side of it. I think that's right towards the end. That's the estate car right towards the end of the Mercedes tour. So we've seen the whole bunch, Nick, of for everything from the supercars to the hatchbacks to the sports cars and the SUVs. The Mercedes range really is something else.
It really is, and it's been great to watch those cars come through. Mix of engines and styling. And in a few minutes we should have the Porsche Centre Tour coming through. I think we should point out to people who perhaps are new to the event, new to rallying, that these cars are in a tour. They're not wearing any protective clothing, they're not wearing helmets, they're not wearing race suits, they don't have roll cages, they don't have fire extinguishers and so on. And they are limited to 100 kilometres per hour. So if you think they look a little bit pedestrian compared to the other guys, you're quite right. They're having a day out, they're restricted to 100 kilometres per hour, and they'll get a bit of a smack if they go over that. So they're just doing their own thing. They're enjoying the touring aspect of the event. And look, we must have close to 400 cars in the touring categories of the event, representing the various manufacturers and the dealerships in Adelaide. So Porsche Centre just about to, I think they've already hit us, have they?
Yeah, yep. We've already got a few that have started to come through, led at the very front by the Angus Sobels in the 2023 911 Sport Classic. But we've got anything from 911s to this on the screen, the 718. We've got Caymans as well, even a couple of Boxsters, Nick.
Yep, they're all represented. And Angus Sobels actually is another one of my Alfa Romeo mates who used to race an Alfa, and I think he might even have done this event in a 105 Series Alfa 2000 GTV. So, yeah, he would know these roads from his competition days. And we see one of the Boxsters go through. Boxsters, of course, mid-engine. Started off with, I think, a 2.7 litre engine, and I think they're now about 3.6.
I think
Don't quote me on that.
On the entry list, it says that. Oh yes, sorry. I'm just trying to work out which line's which. No, that is a 911. I think that was a 911. I'll work it out in a minute.
Yeah, that's all right. It's very. You've got to appreciate it's very hard for us to spot a number on a car looking at a monitor, and so we can't always refer to our notes, even though we've got the list of everyone who's there. Working out who we're watching is not quite so easy.
We know the competition guys well. We see them year after year after year. And that's the same with Challenge and TSD. We can tell you them in a heartbeat. These tour cars, because as you say, there's 400 of them. But every year they come back with different cars. There's different people. There's new models.
Yes.
It's very hard to keep up with.
Yep, well, I think they're keeping up with the Joneses when they come back every year with a new car, because this probably promotes that more than anything. I need a quicker one. Yeah. So they're enjoying the corkscrew, the last few hairpins. They're heading down to a short straight and then a slight right. It's not a super tight one, but it was tight enough that we saw Alex Rollo run his Hyundai a little wide.
You can still see the marks just there.
A bit of gravel there. Yeah, he's just run it right. And look, guys who rally on gravel, they're not afraid of that at all. That's water off a duck's back for them. And as you can see, no panic. Still kept the boot in, keep the power on, and just drive through it. Now, a lesser driver might panic, get on the brakes, and then you're spinning the car. It's in the grass, starts to dig a hole for itself, and then you have a rollover. So that's the difference between the guys at the top of the heap and the lesser mere mortals among us.
So I think that already comes to the end of the Porsche Centre Tour. Up next, we go to the Porsche Club Tour. A large variety of Porsches, and here they are, led by Vic Moore, and he's being hounded. Is Vic? He's got a whole host of Porsches directly behind him, so he'll be trying to keep them at bay. Well, he has to. He is the tour leader. They should stay behind him anyway. What we should explain is we don't want people taking off in the distance by themselves, so there's about 12 cars there or thereabouts, 10 to 12 cars in every packet, we call it, and depending on how many cars you have in a tour depends on how many cars are in your packet. So yeah, Vic is leading the tour out there at the moment, so he is tour leader number. So just to give you a bit of information into it effectively, so Vic Moore is tour leader number 3. So he then has around about 10 drivers directly behind him. It's actually 14 in Porsche Club. And then at the end of this little packet is Adam Wallace in the GT3 RS. Directly behind Adam should be Brad Trenwith, who is tour leader number 4. He then has 14 cars directly behind him, where we have Douglas McPherson, who brings up the rear of that. So that brings all of the Porsche Club Tour members together, and it means that the front guys behind Vic Moore aren't 3 or 4 minutes in front of the other. It means that you're always in a group of 14 or 15 cars. It's a very clever way of doing it, Nick.
And of course it reinforces the 100 km/h speed limit, because the guy in front chooses the pace, and he just sort of sets the trend for the guys behind him. Vic Moore's a seasoned competitor in this event. He'd have no problem driving the car through here with an average of about 100 km/h, just so that he keeps them all in check. And that way they don't try to pass each other or try. And look, back in the day they used to sort of hold back a bit so they could then whiz up to 160k or something silly like that. They can't do that now. It's all monitored, and it's designed to make everyone's safety a priority. And look, it's working, isn't it?
Certainly is, absolutely. Of course, in recent weeks, Porsche have made the big announcement that they're stepping away from the World Endurance Championship in their Porsche 963. Of course, they've had very good success over the last couple of years, winning the Drivers' Championship last year. This year just didn't really go their way with Team Penske, so they are taking a little bit of a step back, just focusing on IMSA competition for the next couple of years, but they are not ruling out a return to World Endurance Championship. Of course, the most winning manufacturer at the Le Mans 24-hour. The question on everyone's lips at the moment is, will Porsche be allowed wildcards for the Le Mans 24-hour if they're not doing the full season? I'm looking forward to seeing the outcome of that, and I hope the outcome is that we will see some factory Porsches at Le Mans again in 2026.
Well, if you were selling the tickets to people who wanted to attend Le Mans, who would you have on the track? You'd make sure Porsche was involved.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the fan base is synonymous with endurance racing.
Yeah, 100%. 100% correct. And it's going through a real purple patch at the moment, is the World Endurance Championship. Of course, Genesis, the higher quality, not high quality, that's not the right word.
The Halo brand?
Yes, thank you. The premium brand was the word I was looking for. The premium brand of Hyundai is Genesis, and they'll be joining the World Endurance Championship in 2026. And in 2027, we'll have Ford and as well McLaren joining the World Endurance Championship. Top tier of hypercar competition. But let's turn our attention back to these Porsches, because I'm getting sidetracked and I can talk about World Endurance Championship for months on end. There is the 356 SC, joint oldest car in the rally this year, built back in 1964.
Yep, Super Carrera, 1600cc. And boy, weren't they a little weapon. They don't weigh a lot, probably weighs under 800 kilos. And you don't need a lot of horsepower when you only weigh that much. So they were an effective car in their day, and everybody took notice of Porsche from then on. And not the least for the fact that James Dean
Brand
owned
new
one and raced one.
Brand new Ferraris, old school Ferraris, they're all descending on the hill now. We're looking just there at the oldest one in this little group, the 308 GTS QV. But this is the Ferrari Club Tour, a brand new tour to the Shannon's Adelaide Rally this year. And what an unbelievable addition it is. That is for certain. There's the old school machine from the mid-noughties, just going through the hills now. The blue machine. That's David Collier behind the wheel of his 456 GTA. 1996, that can't be right. Surely that was only 10 or 15 years ago, wasn't it? That's 30 years old next year. No way. No way.
They age well. They age well, and there's another 308.
This is now, the Ferrari F430 is 20 years old. I can't believe it. That was my childhood car, as I said earlier on. It's incredible. These machines, though, they age so well. They're also memorable, aren't they, Nick? You know, and particularly in this day and age, we've got the 296, which is their GT3 product. But this, you might not be able to hear too well. No, that's because it's an electric machine. It's the Ioniq 5N. So I've got some i30s and some i20s in this Hyundai Tour. But this is an all-electric Ioniq 5N. Great to see one of these on the Adelaide Rally course. He's pulled quite a margin, has Peter Page, over the rest of his tour. The tour leader has pulled quite a hefty margin.
Paul Page there in the Hyundai. And
is it Paul? Is it in
Paul,
that one?
yeah, I think Peter was his dad.
They're both. I think they're both in the rally this year. I'm just trying to find my notes on the Hyundai Tour, just to let you know exactly who it is. It's Paul behind the wheel of that one. Colin Baker alongside of him. But yeah, Peter and Paul both selling Hyundais in this part of the world for many years.
That's right. Couldn't quite make that one out, Dan.
So through goes the next of the Hyundais, 247. That's Gordon Morrison behind the wheel of his i30N Performance. So really nice to see that one in all of its glory. Nice white colour, not the performance blue that we've become accustomed to. This must have been this is a great addition, I should say. The XL leading the Hyundai i20N, just going through the S's, and that is a regular in XL competition, as is the driver in this one, because I believe that is Matt Titani directly behind.
Well, just, if you don't believe you can have a good day out under 100 kilometres an hour, you watch that little XL just whizzing down through the corkscrew, having a ball.
Matt Titani was the car directly behind Dusty Media, Mr. Dusty as he's known as, doing all of his social content. He's out there with Maisie Place this afternoon.
Sean Bashford in the Bathurst Tribute Toyota Celica with Julie Fenning alongside. Sean is a part of the motor industry. If you're looking for a wiring loom for your race car, and you perhaps you're fitting an LS V8 engine to something that never saw an engine like that, Sean will have all the bits to plug and play for you. Bit of a BMW fan and Toyota Celica fan as well.
What about a Honda fan? Is he a Honda fan? Because that's what's next, and we start with a couple of Civics.
Listen, there's the VTEC. That's a good noise.
Yeah, sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Through goes the Civic, and there goes the Integra. Nick's opened the door just to hear it roar past us. We're directly above up the cliff face there on the left-hand side, and Nick loves his VTEC noise. It sounds fantastic, doesn't it?
Look, and this is the reason why the Honda engines, the S2000 engine, the 2-litre, the K20 and the K24, the 2-litre and the 2.4 engines from the Honda Accord Euro, that's why they're such a popular transplant. So there's people put them into all kinds of other brands, including Ford Escorts. Dan, you know,
there we
sort
go
of
again,
throw
yeah,
that in.
mentioning it again.
And Ford Fiesta XR4s.
And Ford Escorts, if you haven't said it already.
The popular engine swap for an XR4 is a Mazda 2.5 from a Mazda 6 or a K24 from a Honda Accord Euro. And of course, you don't even have to tune it. You immediately pick up a whole lot of horsepower and torque just by fitting this really reliable modern engine.
Yeah, absolutely.
With variable valve timing and all the good Honda smarts.
Honda S2000, followed by a bit of an older Honda Civic there, directly behind it. So the 263 of Craig Headon and Martin Bolt in there. Honda S2000, another car that's aged remarkably well. 2000, that one built. But yeah, it's so cool to have a few NSXs in there as well, Nick. A car that really took off in the late 90s. And actually the early 90s, the original NSX, I believe, was partially tested by Ayrton Senna.
I believe you're right, too. And, of course, NSX, really impressive car when it came out. We were all shocked at what they'd done. And Wayne Gardner then campaigned one at Bathurst and wrecked it. But he did point out that because of its very, very cool, beautifully robot welded aluminium frame, that it was a very hard car to straighten out because it had so much structural integrity in the way that it was made that presented problems on its own because it was just so strong and light.
Now we start with the main tour. Nathan Green leading the way. He's always in and around the South Australian motorsport scene, whether it's doing media, whether it's talking about it on commentary, or getting involved in terms of running or help to run the event. He's always involved is Nathan Green, and he's back in his Nissan Skyline GTR once again, and he is quite a character, and he's a real great personality to have in the South Australian motorsport ranks. He's been around for many years, a wise head that is for sure, and he's leading the way as he often does at the front of the main tour. So this is an eclectic mix. It's for people, as I often say, Nick, this is for people like you and me who have a nice car, who want to go out and enjoy the roads, whatever car that may be. So in this tour we'll see anything from what we're seeing on the screen, from BMWs through to Ford Mustangs, Nissan Skylines. The list is endless. You want to drive it in the Adelaide Rally? This is the class for you. Not being timed, limited to 100 k's an hour. It is all about soaking in the beautiful Adelaide roads.
Yeah, very little requirement, well, no requirement for helmet or intercom or race suit or race boots and harnesses and all those things that, you know, add to the cost of competing. So don't need any of that. Put a toe in the water, see what you think. If you like it, all right, maybe we'll purpose build the car, or we'll organise another car, and we'll get into it more seriously and choose the type of events you want to do. And we've got a couple of events coming up this year, Dan, in this ilk. The Gorge Rally Sprint on Gorge Road, so that they just take a few sections of Gorge Road and they run through them a few times. Keep it really, really simple. It means minimal amount of recce required, and you can have a good day out. And then they follow that up with another event, a one-day event, the same, a few months later. But it's classed as a two-day event. So your cumulative result will be the winner for that those couple of events. And again, really good toe in the water opportunity for people who want to get into tarmac rallying.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's organised by the same people that do this event, Tim Possingham and the team. But that's brand new for next year. Looking forward to that, of course, as well. This great team also run the Repco Adelaide Motorsport Festival. And boy, oh boy, already have there been some big announcements. Of course, the V10, you were talking about the fact we love V10s, the V10 Jaguar Formula One car, that will be returning to the event next year as the poster car. And then as well, they've already announced Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard will also be a part of the event in 2026. So many exciting things coming again in the Repco Adelaide Motorsport Festival as we see the next bunch of cars descend down the hill. So lots and lots we have in the main tour this year. A huge group of cars, that is for certain, and it's got an eclectic mix of machines, much like the Motorsport Festival itself. A huge amount of drift cars locked in. They've also announced the Formula One Ferraris will be back. The cars from 1985, those machines that raced in the very first Adelaide Grand Prix, the 15685s.
Now I remember, Dan, walking to the circuit, and I think I was probably a kilometre away. First Grand Prix, we'd never seen these cars, and you heard this shriek of noise of an engine pulling, I don't know, what, 18,000 revs or something, and we'd never heard anything like it. We just, what was that? Like those Ferraris in particular, very, very memorable cars. So that'd be a great crowd pleaser for the Motorsport Festival, and to have the Jag there as well.
As will this. This is one of the draw card cars for next year, the Porsche 917 Can-Am car. We saw a few Can-Am cars this year, didn't we? And boy, oh boy, did they draw eyes. Well, so will that one next year. So keeping the Can-Am theme going.
Now, if you don't know the definition of the word dominate, just look up Porsche 917.
Yes.
They dominated Can-Am racing. They had so much power. They were so fast. It didn't matter how big an American V8 you had. You just couldn't match it with these guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. The tour continues to go through. We've got the great images here on the Cherryville stage. Nick, this is such a fantastic stage. It is the longest stage on the rally, if I'm not correct. If I'm correct.
Yep, unless you're very much mistaken, you were
Yes.
going to say, weren't you? No, it is the longest stage on the rally. It's the second time they're doing it for today. So this has added 38 kilometres to their total in doing this twice. And as we talked about earlier, you know, if you're a second a kilometre off the pace, all of a sudden you've been seriously gapped. So a second a kilometre in rally speed, that's a lot. So you've got to be on your game, on your notes, and not waste any time anywhere. As we see an AC Cobra replica going down through there then with a, sounds like a big block and the side pipes on it. Reminiscent of the 427 Cobra days that Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby cut their teeth on. Ken Miles in particular, a very capable driver, and actually raced a Cobra in Australia, in Queensland, back in those days. Something that I only became aware of a few weeks ago, Dan. I think it was at Lakeside in Queensland, and he was actually brought out as a draw card for the event. But there was another Cobra driver from Western Australia who came to do the same event because it was a championship event, and they said your rear track is an inch too wide, and he said, well, no, it's all right. And they said, no, it's an inch too wide. He said, right, well, I'm going home. So he hopped in the car and drove back to Perth without any further discussion.
Oh yes, here is four-time Bathurst 1000 winner Greg Murphy descending down the hill. He is behind the wheel of that Chevy C10, the Showtime machine, going down the hill. Great to have him a part of the event this year. Of course, he was part of the Adelaide Motorsport Festival last year. And back again, of course, he featured in the recent Repco ad just before Bathurst, where he and Marcus Ambrose were still debating who was at fault for their clash in 2005.
It was a great ad, wasn't it?
It was.
They were still at loggerheads.
And brilliant to have the Jim Richards cameo at the end as well. And actually, that brings me neatly on to the point I was about to talk about. Jim Richards won back in the early days, the Classic Adelaide. Jim Richards won this very stage. So did the likes of Tony Quinn. There's been some legendary names in Australasian motorsport that have taken to this stage and had success. So yeah, Jim Richards won here.
A highly technical stage, and I think that's why all those drivers we interviewed yesterday liked it so much, because they knew that they had to really get it right. And as I've said before, in rallying, you're not running around behind the guy you're trying to beat. You can't see him. So your job is to just beat the stretch of road better than anybody else did. And that's why those guys really rise to the top, guys like Jim Richards with Barry Oliver on the notes. They really dominated this event for a while. And likewise in Tasmania, you couldn't get near them.
Mm-hmm. As we said, it really does rise and fall this stage. So it falls down from about 500 metres to below 300 metres above sea level, and then it rises back up again towards the end of the stage. There really is crests and falls in this iconic stretch of tarmac over the 19 kilometres. It's a real tough one to tame, that is for certain, as we look at the end of the main tour with the Volvo being driven by Gordon Christie. The S60, of course, that in Australia was made famous by Scott McLaughlin, wasn't he? Scott McLaughlin had quite a lot of success in the Volvo S60 before, of course, he left the late Gary Rogers' team. What a sad passing that was. Gary Rogers loved by everybody in the motorsport world.
He influenced so many people's careers, that guy, and he was a renowned preparer and orchestrator of teams. He just did so much in the sport, and he was a pretty down-to-earth guy too. When you talk to him,
he always had time for me. Back when I was a journalist, always came over and had a chat, whether I wanted to talk to him about a news story or not. He wanted to talk about cars with people at the racetrack. So yeah,
and just in general terms, Dan, there's just one thing I wanted to throw in here, because people are watching this and they're probably thinking, oh, yeah, it's all a bit, bravado going down this really narrow, twisty road at speed. The average speed of the top cars, not these cars, the top cars down Corkscrew Road is about 87 kilometres per hour. That's about as fast as you can average down that road, because it is so tight. So if you can imagine in the rally car, you're just, up to 120, brake, up to 120, brake, constantly. And your co-driver, it just doesn't stop. The notes are coming thick and fast. And, you're almost puffed out at the end of it, because you've been just doing so many high concentration things all the way through it. And you look at it and say, what, all that for 87 kilometres an hour average? Yeah, that's what it takes. And that's why rallying is so good. It's what comes from putting together a really good rally stage. You don't want straight road stretches and crossroads and things like that. You want these mean, technical, time vampire type stages.
Well, we got a little break between the main tour and the Spirit Tour. Yesterday, I had a chat to 2023 Shannon's Adelaide Rally winner, Matt Selly, who is back here at the Shannon's Adelaide Rally in 2025. Here's what he had to say. A former winner of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally. You took a year out last year, but you're back.
I'm back. Last year I helped out a bit with an official role as the competition checker, which is a pretty important role for this event, and also the safety checker on the day. But now I get to go out and play. I can't wait for it.
Since you were last here, the competition's certainly risen.
It has. It's fantastic to see these wonderful Rally 2 cars and the AP4 cars and so many international competitors. It's a great thing for this event. Makes it harder for me, but that's all right. I'll do them the best I can. We'll try and keep as close as we can to them, but they'll probably beat us.
How cool is it, though, to have such an international flavour this year from not only Indonesia, but Ireland, Scotland?
Oh, it's wonderful. And, to Tim's credit, he's built this event up into a world-class event that attracts people from all around the world. Yes, there's a huge tour field, but 500 cars is amazing. And if it wasn't for the tour cars, we wouldn't be able to have fun. And I'm sure that so many of these people would come from overseas because they want to be part of something as big as this.
How do you think it's going to go? I've spoken to a few of the internationals. How do you think, as you say, they've got some really nice cars, but they don't know the roads. Do you think that will play into your hands?
Yeah, I think the Indonesians, typically they tend to run more on gravel than on tarmac, but I think a couple of them have got even WRC experience in Rally 2 cars on tarmac, so they will be quick. Yes, there's a bit of hometown advantage. We know the roads. I think Saturday will probably be the decider because the rain forecast is going to make things very interesting. So a little bit of trepidation about that, but I don't mind the wet. It'll be fine.
Who do you think are the favourites?
I think that young Alex Rouleau, who won it last year, will probably take it out. But the really exciting duel will be between the Mark II Escorts and the Mark I Escort as well, and Jack Monkhouse. In that little bunch of cars, Jack Monkhouse, Alistair McRae, Frank Kelly, there are a number of other superstars as well. They are really going to put on a show. I can't wait to see it afterwards. Unfortunately, I won't see it live.
And this beast for you, talk us through a bit about it. Have you done anything since we last saw it?
No, not really. No, it's basically the same car as we ran last time. So it's down on power and suspension travel compared to the Rally 2 cars, but it's not far off. So if things go our way, we'll be up in amongst it, I think.
Absolutely. Best of luck for the weekend.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
It's great to have a chat with Matt, who has been involved in this event in not only driving capacity, but as he says, also helping out behind the scenes as well over a number of years. And yeah, great to have him back in 2025. And so far, he's got off to a clean start. He's currently, if I have a look at the most recent timing after stage 8, Nick, this has just come in. He sits just inside of the top 10 at the moment. So he's running nicely out there. But certainly a packed field, that is for sure. But out in front, his margin has been further extended. Hayden Paddon now leads by 56 seconds ahead of Alex Rouleau. And then Matthews is in position number 3 still. It's actually really closed up between Matthews and the chasing field. Matthews now leads Kelly by just 15 seconds, with McRae a further 19 seconds behind that. So Oscar Matthews has dropped away from the Hyundais, and he's being caught at the moment by Frank Kelly, the first of the escorts that was just being spoken about by Selly.
Fantastic, Dan. This augurs well for a battle tomorrow, and especially in light of what Matt Sally just said about him seeing Saturday as the day that's going to be the pivotal day. But gee, full credit to Oscar Matthews. He just never ceases to amaze me. He doesn't drive a lot. His skills go back to when he was a teenager, and he just rolls the car out for the Adelaide Rally and punches above his weight with these other guys who are regular, if not professional, drivers. And to do that is no mean feat. But you've got Frank Kelly and Alistair McRae behind him. You've got Tom Dermody probably not far away from them. So it's going to pan out really well, because Alistair will be coming to grips with the car more. Getting a bit more adventurous, and I think he will probably be the mover. I think Oscar will probably stay where he is. Frank might get a bit closer to Oscar, but I think it'd be hard to beat. But I think Alistair will be the mover.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Certainly moved up in the last few stages anyway. It's a fascinating field this year. So Paddon, Rouleau, first of the locals in Oscar Matthews in third. Then we have Kelly in fourth, McRae in fifth. Jack Monkhouse is not too far behind McRae in position number 6. Stuart Reid in seventh. Redhead in 8th, Tom Dermody in 9th, and Oscar Lukas rounding out the top 10.
And no shame in any of those positions.
No,
I mean,
no.
that is very good company to tell your grandkids that you were racing with, isn't it?
First of the Indonesians is in 12th position. That's Nerwin, who is currently in 12th position. He's just 11 seconds behind Nick Strakheisen in the Porsche 944 in 11th. Lachlan Cox was outside of the top 20 early on in proceedings, so I think he had an issue, but he has bolted up the order late on in this morning's running. He's moved up to position number 13 in the green Escort, so he's really shot up the order. Rishi Sunkar is moved up into position number 15 ahead of Zach Hegde, Bowden and Lowe. Actually, looking at it now, I think Selly has dropped off the timing between stage 7 and 8, so Matt Selly was inside the top 7 at the end of stage 7, but no, he's not there at the moment, so I think Matt Selly has unfortunately dropped by the wayside. So we were talking to him, but he's not completing stage times at the moment.
Just when we were pumping his tyres up too.
Yeah, that's a shame.
So that's the commentator's curse. Apologies for that, Matt.
Well, that's the second one we've done, but the two that we've played in
Jonathan
the last
Moyer.
two stages have hit problems. We're not going to play any more interviews.
No. As we see the 635 CSI of Tom and Chris Ferguson coming through, another tribute livery, and what a great car.
Let's talk about Spirit Tour, Nick. What is Spirit Tour? Why does this differ from the others?
Spirit Tour is not timed. It's restricted to 120 kilometres per hour, so it's a bit quicker, but you've got to take the safety on board. So helmets, race suits, boots, fire extinguishers, a half roll cage if the car's pre-1986. No. Full roll cage? No, half roll cage for this one. And you're going a bit quicker. You've got to have more safety equipment. It's not competitive, but it gives you an opportunity to stretch the legs a bit more.
While we're talking about results, I'm going to have a look at Challenge as well. And it's pretty much as it was earlier on in the day. The margins have not differentiated at all. The Spry combination leads the men combination by just 14 seconds, Nick. It is ultra tight in Challenge. And a further 10 seconds behind is Andrews in the Ford Focus. Robbie Brocklebank is the star performer for me. He's now moved up into the top 4 positions in the old Toyota Corolla. He is driving the wheels off that thing.
As he does.
Yes.
It's not a lot of money, that car. Robbie will be the first one to tell you that. He's an Adelaide Hills boy, so he'd know the roads well. But he does just push the car as hard as he can. And, when you're limited to 130 kilometres per hour, well, that suits him fine, because when the other cars see a space where they could conceivably achieve 160 or 200, they're not allowed to.
Yeah.
So it brings the field back, and it makes for a very interesting tussle.
Another thing with Spirit Tour is the fact that they are separated by 30-second intervals. So rather than being all grouped together like we saw the previous tours, these guys are all separated by 30 seconds. Having said that, it looks like the second of the Porsches is quickly catching the other white Porsche directly ahead of it. So those guys certainly circulating at different speeds. We move on to the bright orange. Fury orange is the official colour, and that one is driven by Daniel Rajic. Ford Mustang GT from 2018.
Right. And just to qualify what I was saying before, when I suddenly doubted myself, half cage mandatory for a pre-1986 car.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. There, Nick, we have the 409 driver there in his Porsche.
In the white 911, that is Jonathan Linus. Jot Linus. Just reading the fine print. Good to watch these cars. We're building up, of course, to Challenge, and this is just giving you a taste. 30 seconds apart. It's giving these guys a taste as well, so that they can consider whether they want to take the next step and the step after that to full competition.
Yeah, the next step is the next class we're going to see of Challenge, the one we just spoke about with the speed limit of 130 k's an hour, but timed, whereas this is 120 k's, not timed. So the question is, do you take that next step and fight against the clock, against fellow hardcore competitors? That is the question. So stay with us on the Shannon's Adelaide Rally live stream, because we do have some hard charges to come in the next few minutes. And the challenge class, followed by TSD, the regularity class, to end proceedings here this afternoon. Of course, so we're going to continue, Nick, covering stages throughout the rest of the weekend. Hermitage first thing tomorrow before we go to Wairoa, your local stage. I mean, you could literally walk to that stage, couldn't you?
And speaking of walking, there's considerable viewing along a walking track that runs along the length of the Aldgate to Stirling Road, main road. It's on a main road, so we're closing that part of the main road. It goes under the railway bridge. There's a little couple of witches' hats just to make sure they don't suddenly leap into the air when they cross the little hump. And then they have a corner, and then a series of corners. So you'll get to see the cars in a really, really compact stage. And this is one of the failings of rallying that often takes people out to faraway places and no one comes to watch. So it's better to bring the cars to the people so that they can see them. That's only a short walk or drive from their homes. The community gets on board. There'll be coffee for sale when you get there, or a donut if that's your passion. And you'll get to see the cars executing half a dozen corners flat out. And there is a bit of bragging rights on fastest time for that stage. And last year, the car that was quickest through there was not a Rally 2 car.
No, it wasn't.
It was an old, dare I say it, Ford Escort. It was Tom Dermody from Queensland in the car that Alistair McRae is driving today. So it'll be on for young and old, because those Escort blokes, they won't tolerate being beaten by one another. They'll be all going for it.
They certainly will, as we see the 410 of Daniel Timms in his Porsche 911 going through the stage. There he is, a nice old school 90s Porsche. Really nice to see that descend on this stage. But yes, as you say, Wairoa is a fantastic spectator stage. You drove that stage, actually. The first year of that stage, you drove on it, and it's certainly a road you know well. But yeah, that really set the scene for what we saw at Strathalbyn as well. The Wairoa stage sort of set the scene of the spectator-friendly super special stages, really.
Yeah.
And the success of that we then took to Strathalbyn and built on that.
Yep. It was a real, it was a sad one for me, I'm afraid, because on the stage before, where we had to drive all the way to Strath from Callington, the exhaust headers on my car broke. So we did a very, very quick bodgy repair on them just to stop the exhaust from falling apart at Strath, and managed to get through the next stage to Ichunga. So by the time I got to Wairoa, my car sounded like a tractor. And I was just so disappointed, because I was looking forward to that stage and having a real go at it in front of all my local mates. And instead I went through with this thing that sounded like it was on its last legs. It wasn't, but it did sound like it.
The 419, Dean Dallavalle, great to have him back once again this year alongside Louis English. Subaru STI, the Impreza, great to have that machine here this year, and certainly flying upon these stages. I believe, that was the 418 machine, and then another Subaru. Just flicking it through there, or getting a little bit squirrely there. This is Josh Kent alongside Samuel David in their another Subaru. as we say, Nick, such an iconic car. Rallying, Subaru, they go together hand in hand.
It's the modern Ford Escort, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, then there were Ford Escorts, there were Datsun 1600s, and then all of a sudden there was Subaru WRXs and Evos.
And look what's next. A
Yeah.
Subaru
Yep.
WRX.
Yeah, there's 14 WRXs in the main tour.
And we've seen them all nose to tail at the moment out there. Nice that they've grouped them together. I like that. That's cool. That's good. We've almost got a Subaru Tour by itself. One that we didn't intend to have. Oh, Mazda RX-8. Didn't see this one earlier on today. Another cult classic car, the RX-7 and the RX-8. Two very, very popular machines. I don't even recall seeing that on the entry list, but it's out there. There's absolutely no doubt that that was a Mazda RX-8. Another Subaru in orange going through. That's Ryan Burbidge and Sky Burbidge. Again, they've been around for a while. And again, the Burbidges, not only in this car, but also in the 420 of Wayne and Cade Burbidge. So there's a few of them. It's great that the families get involved in not just one, but two cars. Rather than sharing all the navigating and the driving in one car, no, let's shake things up. Let's get two cars out there and share the roads together. Really?
This is all good. And actually, there's a good contingent of cars in this category, isn't there, Dan?
Oh, certainly is.
What is the number? Do you know?
You give me 2 seconds. You've thrown me one there. It's on one of my pages anyway. It's a big field this year. Here it is. I've just found it. If I can
Sorry
find
to
the
do
right
that
page.
to you.
Yeah,
I thought it might just be in the back of your mind, but I'm thinking it's probably 25, something like that.
Spirit Tour 61.
61
In Spirit Tour, yes. 52
Right.
last year, up to 61 this year. So sorry it took
terrific.
me a second to get there. I did have the answer, but I just had to find it. Yeah, it is.
It's a really good number, and as we said earlier, it speaks volumes that every category in the event is growing. It's not just one, it's not just one tour aspect, or it's competition. It's rally pro. It's all the categories. Are developing.
I actually made a note of that, Nick. So Prima Tour has grown 16. Zagame has grown a couple. Mercedes is exactly the same as last year. Solitaire Tour has gone up by 6. As well, the Honda Tour has over doubled in size since last year. The Hyundai Tour has gone up a couple of cars as well. The Ferrari Tour is brand new this year, so that's obviously gone up. The main Tour has grown by a couple of cars. TSD has grown by 25%. Spirit Tour, as you say, has grown 9. And competition, last year in competition there was a total of 13. This year there is 17 in comp and the 7 pro cars, totaling 24 in the outright category this year. So from 13 to 24, we've nearly doubled our competition category this year. Every single category, basically, Nick, as you say, has grown, and a lot of them exponentially as well.
And outright prize money of $20,000. So it's not really surprising that the competition category has grown.
Yeah, absolutely. So many sponsors jumping on board as well for this year. A few new ones, including Acru Harris Orchard, Adelaide-based tax accounting and business advisory firm that helps clients build and grow their businesses. You can see all of the sponsors are going through the bottom of the screen. Of course, we've got a lot of the brands, including BMW Mini, Solitaire, Zagame. You can see them all at the bottom of the screen. But Leader Computers as well, Nick. They provide all of the computers at Rally Control. And let me tell you,
that's a lot.
I was there last year. It is a lot of computers and a lot of moving parts going on in there. Big thank you to all of the team that are working in Rally HQ, around a dozen of them. And they are constantly working. We've got a radio here at the location where we are, and it's just constant communications to all the different points, because let's not forget, Nick, a lot of people forget this. Yes, we're here at Cherryville, but there's people at the stage before us, there's cars at the stage after us. Over the course of the 3 hours that we're bringing you this coverage, we are at 4 different stages simultaneously, different cars at different stages at the same time. So they've got got so many different things going on. They're not just focused on one stage at a time. Not like a circuit event. You've only got one race on at one time. You don't have 5 different circuits going on and you're managing all of them. That's what these guys have to face in
That's
Rally
right.
HQ.
It's a logistical nightmare. And you have the distance in between. Not only do you have things happening simultaneously in different locations, but you've got the distance they have to traverse in between. So there's cars probably over a 50-kilometre radius at the moment. So, you know, it's things like Rally Safe, which we haven't really talked about, but the cars use a system called Rally Safe, which uses GPS to monitor their position. Rally headquarters can tell if they're moving or not moving. It can tell if they've had an impact. It can tell how fast they're going too. And it's not telling us, but it is telling Rally Control how fast they're going. So if they exceed their limit that they're required to stay within the bounds of, they'll be penalised accordingly. So there's not any fun and games, but from a safety point of view, as soon as there is an impact, Rally headquarters knows, even before the driver and co-driver can send a message.
Yeah, correct, absolutely. There was a famous story a few years ago when Rally Safe was first being trialled. The person who was testing it packed it down but left it on and took off because their car broke down. Anyway, Sunday morning, Rally HQ's being alerted that this car's doing 600 kilometres an hour. Well, he'd taken it on board the plane and hadn't turned it off. So it proves that it was still working.
It's effective even up there.
Yeah, exactly right. So they quickly disconnected that one, obviously.
No, you can run, but you can't hide.
Exactly right. They knew exactly what that person was doing as they were hurtling back to their home state. But that's quite a funny story on quite a serious topic, though, that you know, we can keep a track of every single car at every given moment and know exactly what they're doing. No, I think that's a hilarious story, personally, about taking the Rally Safe on the plane. But yes, we digress.
See, the other thing is that when the cars go through these low speed zones that we've talked about, where they have to drop to 60 kilometres an hour because there's perhaps a potential danger close by that it might be affected by your speed, it's Rally Safe that they look at in the car, which as the speed drops gets to 60 kilometres per hour, the Rally Safe screen goes green and says go. So you're back on. So your co-driver's watching that and he's saying slow, 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 go. And so it's taken a lot of the guesswork out of that sort of stuff, both for the crews and for the people who are trying to monitor it.
443, Anthony Mastiunto. Behind the wheel at the moment in another Subaru Impreza WRX in World Rally Blue and with the iconic livery on it as well. Let's see if he can take the corners just like Colin McRae did back in the day. Not quite as committed, but a good effort. I have to say I was pretty impressed by how hard he was attacking the corners at the top of the hill. A little more patient and a little more smooth down the hairpins, but certainly a committed run from this driver. And I remember saying that about a certain Daniel Andrews a couple of years ago, and now look at him fighting for podium positions in the challenge class in the very vehicle that he competed in Spirit. So these guys in the next couple of years, if they feel ready, might make that step up into the competition classes.
Yeah. And look, there's a few limiting factors that you might think your driving skills aren't really up to it. You might not feel you're brave enough. It might be budget. You know, you might say, well, you know, I know how much more I have to spend. I've got to be fully caged, and I've got to have the right tyres and the right brake pads, and perhaps maybe I need some more horsepower as well, and that's never comes cheap. But there's a lot of decisions to be made. But at least you're speaking from a position of knowledge, because you've done one level, and you've looked at the guys who are next level up from you, and you know what to expect, what kind of expense they've gone to.
I guarantee all of these guys in Spirit Tour have more horsepower than the little Bath Berliner of
Mike Lowe.
Mike Lowe, exactly right. Yep. In the 1 litre powered machine, that is a tiny little thing. Power to weight ratio is not too bad, but the overall horsepower is certainly lacking compared to some of his fellow competition drivers.
You see, even time is another constraint.
Yeah.
How much time are you prepared to put into recce? These guys have probably driven one pass of most of the stages. And some of them, they've probably said, no, I drive that road every day. So if we were doing recce, we would do 2 passes of every stage. But on some of those stages, we had to write the notes as well. And that takes a lot more time. So in the end, you could probably say we dedicated 6 Saturdays to recce. And a lot of people just don't have the time to do that. So these are all the things you have to weigh up. You need the support of your family and the people around you. You don't want to be fighting a battle at home to go and take part in something you're passionate about. Very fortunate there to be backed up on all sides by my family.
Got Joanne Harmon now behind the wheel of the Ford Mustang from 1967. Alongside of Joanne is Andrew Stone. What a glorious piece of machinery this is. Of course, Mustang, real American muscle car. Of course, these days, more of a sports car, really, than an American muscle car. Yeah, okay, it's got a big V8. It does tick all the criteria of being an American muscle car. But the good thing about a modern-day Mustang is they can turn really well as well.
They do, although they still are a bit of a handful. They can be a bit ill-mannered at times.
Have you driven one of those as well, have you?
I had one for 5 years.
Oh, you owned one of those?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
right.
I paid to drive that one. And, yeah, look, a trouble-free, enjoyable car. It was my daily driver and great fun. But if you really wanted to press on, you had to have your wits about you because they can step out pretty easily. Like I say, not a lot of finesse at times, but good fun, unless you're trying to get on with it. It's, not a problem. But great fun car. And, I'm just enjoying watching these people's lines through these corners with the help of Luke, our drone pilot. And we just get to watch all these people's lines. And, that's another thing you got to learn from people like Cameron Waring and Tanya Waring. What's a racing line? How do I put that together? Where do I start this corner? What's more important, the entry or the exit, or the bit in between? And they can show you those things.
Speaking of Cameron and Tanya Waring, of course, yes, you say they always do driver training, don't they? That is their business, the family business, the husband and wife combination. But how they're about the only combination that's missing from the competition class this year.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll be back. I'm sure they will. They'll be watching on and probably helping out, volunteering around the event. They're always helping out with the Adelaide Motorsport Festival as key and vital volunteers.
So I should point out that when we talk Cameron and Tanya Waring, we're talking about the Australian Driving Institute.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know them personally, so that's what you want to Google, Australian Driving Institute. Now, I know why Tanya's not in the event, because she didn't have time, as I just mentioned. It's another constraint. So Tanya, and with Cameron's help, of course, and an organising team, has put together a gravel rally, which you'd call a mini marathon. It's 5 days. And it's from the Flinders Ranges to the Fleurieu Peninsula. I'm glad I don't have to say that fast. Flinders to Fleurieu. And it's going to be an event in the spirit of the old London to Sydney rallies, or the other marathon rallies that we had in those days, which there is a big following for from people all over the world. They like those kind of events. So that's what Tanya's working tirelessly on at the moment. And we'll get to see the fruits of that next year when we can all go out to some sort of stage in the Flinders and watch all those cars come through.
What's a bit deep there, I thought, but no, that car handled it like a dream. The old Austin Healey. Actually, I stand corrected. I said that the 1964 Porsche was the oldest car here. That Austin Healey, I believe, is from 1950s. The late 1950s.
Yeah.
So that's the oldest car here this year. So that wasn't a part of the rally last year. So it's been bettered. We've gone even older. So way back in 1957.
Yeah. And a big lump of cast iron in the front of it. Very heavy in the front. So probably not the easiest thing to drive on a road like this.
No, definitely not. This one would be a little bit easier. The
very
little
friendly.
Yes.
Very friendly, this one.
this section of the stage would very much suit the Mini. The fast-flowing gorge section further down the hill, not so much the fast, flat-out section of road.
Yeah, the gorge road is a gift to a Mini, but it'll be equally good on the gorge road, but perhaps just down a little bit on power to some of those heavy hitters up the top.
I think we're coming towards the end of the Spirit Tour. Just a couple of cars remaining. The final car will be the little Toyota GR Yaris. So when we see that, that is the end of the Spirit Tour before we get back on with the timed classes. Challenge followed by TSD. Through goes the 456 machine of Ben Pfeiffer in a old Toyota Celica liftback, a car that even I'd look at and struggle to tell you that is a Toyota Celica, but that's exactly what it is, Nick. This is a car well before my time.
Well, often referred to as the Mustang shape when they appeared, because of the louvers in the rear pillar and the hatchback sort of style of a Mustang coupe of the late 60s. But Toyota Celica's always such a good car over time. I don't think they ever built a bad one, and they still have a big following today. They were successful in the World Rally Championship over many years in their various forms, and it's good to see guys representing them in their old school light in this event.
It certainly is. So there is the Toyota Gazoo Racing Yaris that concludes the Spirit Tour. Up next, we turn things back up a notch. The Challenge Class cars will be on in a matter of moments, and this is all about the Challenge Class.
Challenge. Competition with limits. Challenge is a competitive category against the clock. However, there is a level playing field. Cars are limited to 130 kilometers an hour on closed road stages. Cars eligible in the category are modern or classic cars. Participants will leave at 30-second intervals and run under traditional rally regulations, meaning the team to complete the 30 stages fastest goes home with the winning trophy.
It's a very interesting category, this one, Nick, and as explained, 130 kilometers an hour maximum speed means that it's all very tight. It keeps things close, and that's exactly what we are seeing at the moment in the Challenge class. The most recent update I got is that I read it out earlier, so this is a couple of stages old, but the most recent update I have, the Spries lead the way by 14 seconds ahead of the MAN Subarus. So it's a Subaru 1-2, the Spry combination ahead of the MAN combination, with Daniel Andrews and Wegner a further 24 seconds back. Then Brocklebank sits in position number 4, and then the two Rogers in their Subaru WRX sit in position number 5. Actually, as I'm reading this to you, Gary Searle in timing has just delivered me, as I'm reading it to you, a further updated times. So Man's actually closed the margin, the two Mans, down to 12 seconds. So it's down the lead margin. The Spries lead the Mans by 12 seconds, and Andrews is closed in just a smidge as well. Rogers has taken 4th position from Brocklebank, so that has changed in the last stage, but still,
they're on their way.
Brilliant job from Brocklebank.
And here they come, Dan. They are on the stage right now. The whole category is queued up at the start of the Cherryville Plus stage, Cherryville Plus 2. And car number 600 is well into the stage and should be with us very shortly.
Absolutely. So just continuing to go through the rest of them. Fechner sits in position number 6. McKellar in the awesome, the former Jim Richards Targa Porsche. That is in position number 7. Jai Raymond is still competing out there in position number 8, just 6 seconds behind McKellar in 7th. Dodson, in one of my favourite cars, the Citroen C4, is in position number 9. Swiggs and Pluckenham, they have been in this class for many years in their John Cooper Works Mini. They round out the top 10. Wheeler is in position number 11, and sadly, Bowden in the 1985 Porsche 944. Bowden and Smith, unfortunately, their day is done. Oh yeah, a real shame for them. I hope to see them back tomorrow. That's one of the good things. They do have overnight to get back out there onto the rally. They'll be given a few penalty points for not completing stages, but they will be back out there. I have also, Nick, got our first TSD times and points of the weekend so far. And I said, how will the newcomers go against the old regulars, Nick? Well, the answer is very well indeed. We have Stephen Mallow and Shane Wood on just 8 points at the head of the field, ahead of William Kay and Kim McGuinness on 18 points. Our two-time defending champions, Chris Oldacre and David Greaves, are on 21 points in 3rd position. And in one of the stages, they picked up 10 penalty points. That's unheard of for them. 10 points.
That's Oldacre.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's unheard of for them. It really, really is.
So it's on. It's on.
It very much is. Anthony Daly and Cameron Vanden Heuvel, they finished in position number 3 last year. They lost 45 seconds on this stage earlier on today, so they were 9 seconds too fast.
Whoops.
So they've had a fantastic day other than that. In the other 4 stages, they accumulated just 3 points in total. However, a huge penalty of 45 points in this very stage earlier today means that they, because of that alone, slipped from 1st position down to the tail of the top 5. So lots of talking points in TSD. I'll talk about that more as they come through, but I think I can hear just in the corner of my ears, I think it's the first challenge car about to come through, Nick. And the first challenge car will be Ben Mann behind the wheel of the 2002 Subaru STI. They'll be followed through by the Rogers of Tom Rogers and Stephen Rogers. And then we've got Ben Wheeler. Here it is, just coming down now. So here are the defending challenge winners. They're currently 2nd, just 12 seconds behind the 2 Spries. The 2 rivals continue their duel in 2025. Great to see that has moved on a year, and they're going at it once again through the nice flowing sequence of corners up here before they get to the technical hairpin stretch down the bottom of this hill. And here are the leaders in the course. They scraped the wall, didn't they, earlier on? And again, Tony looking very, very committed. He certainly wants the win this year. He was the bridesmaid last year, and he's giving it his absolute all to not have that happen again. This is the very corner where he ran wide earlier and nearly hit the wall, and he's doing it again. That was really close once more.
No, that was planned, Dan. It was okay.
He might have broken maybe 1 or 2 meters earlier, but that was again very, very committed.
No, that's good. It's good to watch. It's great to see these guys using their lines, and we can hear them revving the cars out on the really short straights. As short as they are, they're still giving them a bit of a serve. And here comes Daniel Andrews in the Focus RS. He's a very committed sort of a driver, so we'll see. I can see how I mistook that for the other car, Dan, when we got the drone shot, because it's...
From the roof, they
look very similar. Daniel Andrews' car, of course, with a Ken Block tribute livery for the great man, who took up rallying after becoming a worldwide superstar for his Gymkhana videos to market DC shoes. Here we have Corey Fechner in the BMW M3. Have a listen to this car. This is the way the factory built it.
Sounds good, doesn't it? Here we go again. Very nice. down through the tight corners. Very nicely done. As we say, he is just outside the top 5 at the moment, just behind Robbie Brocklebank, who we'll see come down through the corners in a few moments' time. Here are the Rogers heading down through the corners in there. Ypres, a lovely apex there, nice late apex, and they're clipping every single corner, carrying lovely minimum corner speed, not running a metre wider than they need to. That is perfection.
Yep, it's good to watch. Good to see these guys picking their lines, positioning the car for the entry, and really not losing time by being in the wrong place or having to slow the car. Just carrying the speed, keeping the rhythm going, and nice wide entry there for the sharpest of the hairpins. Here's Jai with 4.5 litres of dry sump Rover V8 to give them all a bit of a hurry up.
We weren't sure if this guy had a problem earlier on today. I'll probably send him a text message at the end of the day and find out if it has indeed had a few issues earlier on, because last year they were up inside the top 3 for pretty much the entirety of the first 2 days until it suffered a mechanical issue. This weekend so far they've been right towards the tail end of the top 10, but hey, that might be, Nick, because the competition level's just risen that much in the last 12 months.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's and that's healthy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a good sign. You know, you shouldn't be able to just come back and monster the thing year after year. You should have newcomers, this is what we were talking about earlier. You've got to have new blood. And with the new blood comes new fans and new families and crews, and that's what makes it so exciting. Yeah, it's good to see these blokes using all the road. That's what it's there for. Duncan Mackle and Luke Hamilton. Duncan McKellar in a Jim Richards tribute car.
I have a feeling it could be the very thing, you know, the tire car. You reckon it's a tribute?
Look, I naturally assumed it was a tribute, Dan. I could be wrong. You might have the wood on me there.
Oh, we will have to find out. We'll have to find that one out. They currently sit in position number 7 in a 993 RSCS machine. This is the car that, unfortunately...
That's back on. I thought that one was out.
Yes, correct. Yeah, it's not taken part in the last several stages. So the last stage it did was this stage.
Right, okay.
So it's missed the last 3 stages, that would be.
Well, whatever it was, the crew have managed to cobble something up so that it can continue and finish the day. It's what, in rallying terms, it's what's called cut and run. Just leave those stages out. He'll get some penalties, but... if he was in a competitive section, he would get the longest time for the stage. So yeah, he's well down, but that's okay. He's still in it, and that's what matters.
Giving it his all. This is the man who is right inside the top 5 at the moment. He did lose 1 position coming into this stage, but he's really keen to reclaim that, using all the road right out to the Armco fencing on the right-hand side. He is fully committed, giving it his all to try and reclaim that place ahead of Rogers. He wants P4 back. They are pretty much tied. There's just a second between them coming into this one. So it's all to play for late on this afternoon. Who is going to finish 4th at the end of the day, or running a little wide there, but that doesn't matter too much with those hairpins, because if you run a bit wider, you open the corner up a bit more and can hold a bit more minimum speed.
A wide entry for those can be a really useful formula for them. And then you can clip the apex, because at the same time the road is dropping away, so sometimes you don't want to clip the apex too tight because it just creates a big drop that the car goes through. But somewhere in there, there's a happy medium. But a wide entry is good.
Certainly is. That was Swigs just going through in the John Cooper Works Mini. They sit inside the top 10 at the moment, doing a very nice job out there on these stages. They've been regulars in the class, have Swigs and Pluckenham the last few years, and great to have them back again this year.
And I think that, oh no, here we go. We've got one more.
No, this is the first of the TSD runners, Nick.
It is. It's the Yaris of Ryan and Glenn. It's car number 500. And as we said earlier, these guys are having a hell of a fight. All these imposters coming in and upsetting the regime.
Absolutely, it's really flipped things on its head in TSD this year. We were talking about the regulars earlier on today. Well, we've got to turn our attention away from the regulars and talk about some of these surprise packages that we've not seen in the class before. But it is at the moment the BMW that leads the way. The 2010 BMW 535i that is leading the way, and they're right towards the end of the group, so look out for them late on. Who is going to be next? It should be, I believe, the next of the...
I think this might be Matt Yarwood and Samuel Yarwood in the BRZ, and it is too. How about that? It's a nice smooth execution through there. Not pushing the car too hard so you don't get front lock up or anything silly like that. Only waste time. So just keep the rhythm going, keep the car with plenty of road, and look at that. Just drove it down the mid-track.
So just to inform you, the Gazoo Yaris that we saw at the start, that is the car currently in position number 4 in the timesheets.
Right.
This one here, the Holden Ute.
Darren and Nathan Freeman.
Yeah.
That's car number 503, the Ute.
It is indeed, and they currently sit in position number 8 on the timing. A large bulk of their points were lost here, but also in the following stage after this one, Nick.
Now we've got another Yaris here of Stephen Barker and Mandy Ruddam. So Mandy Ruddam's been around rallying for a long time, so she'll probably really enjoy doing the maths on the fly and trying to keep this all in check.
And she's been doing a very good job there inside the top 5. They've collected only 20 points so far today. However, 15 of those points came on stage number 6. And that has been a stage that's caught out a lot of people today. All of these points are being dropped in stage number 6, which is Old Norton Summit 1. So not sure why. It's not a particularly long stage, Old Norton Summit.
We see the Beetle of Tracy Harris and Gordon Harris, competitors from last year also. No, I don't know why Norton Summit would be the Achilles heel for these guys. It's the old road today, isn't it? Old Norton Summit.
Let me just have a look. So yeah, stage number 6, yeah, Old Norton Summit.
Old Norton Summit. So it's just a climb straight up the hill to the pub from Horsnell Gully Road. So yeah, I don't know why that's been a problem for them, but here we have the Hyundai of Anthony Daly and Cameron Vanden Heuvel.
The runners-up a couple of years ago, 3rd last year. And as I said just before, you may have heard on the live stream, they only accumulated 3 points in 4 of the 5 stages. However, in this very stage, they were 9 seconds too fast. That's bad. You lose 1 point for every second you are slower than the target time in TSD, but you lose 5 points for every second you are faster. So 9 seconds, that was 45 points gone. The winners of this event last year accumulated a total of 48 points. This is the winners from last year. They accumulated just 48 points all year last year. So to lose 45 points in one stage, they've got their hands tied behind their back as a result of that one.
It's a pretty unforgiving, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah.
I mean, what did you say? It's 9 seconds.
9 seconds,
and it's put them, 40 points down. So
it's moved them from position number 1 to position number 6 as a result of that. So, yes, Chris Oldacre, though, and David Greaves, they are right in contention, as they always are. They're currently in position number 3. Last year, they were never headed from start to finish. They really did dominate the event, but this year, they've certainly got a few challenges, that is for sure.
Here's our newcomers from New South Wales, the Gilroys. Now, they drove this car over from New South Wales, and they're doing the event. They've got to drive it home, so don't scratch it, will you, fellas?
It looks to me like they were a bit too fast in the first stage and lost a hell of a lot of points, and a bit too fast in the a bit too slow in the second one.
Well, I think
but since then, they've been pretty consistent.
I think they're trying to go a bit too slow in this one because Graham Modra is right behind them, and he wouldn't be loving that. Graham in the Mark 1 Escort with the Golf livery, also a long-time competitor of this class, and this is a Mini. This is the Mini Cooper S of William Kay and Kim McGuinness.
These guys, newcomers to the ranks, these guys are in position number 2, Nick, at the moment. They are doing a mighty fine job at this point in time, accumulated just 18 points to this point.
Good effort.
It's all about talking about points and numbers and maths in TSD. It's a very different category to the others. We're not talking like we are with the challenge class, and particularly the competition class of, oh, he's got a bit sideways there, oh, that's a big moment, he's close to the wall. It's all about what they've done so far, their averages, their points, their numbers. It's I tell you what, James May would be good at this, wouldn't he?
Captain Slow.
Yeah, indeed.
Well,
he'd need to go quick enough to meet the target time. That would be his problem.
He would.
Actually, I do remember on a old Top Gear episode, they did do a sort of similar style to this, a regularity rally, very similar to this in, I think it was Spain. Jeremy Clarkson threw it all away in the final stage because he started racing somebody and ended up going too fast.
And speaking of racing, here comes Jay Dawson in the Ford Escort Mark II with the Group 4 flares on it. Another local boy.
Nick got all
enjoying
excited.
His motorsport. No, look, I've got that problem almost under control. Hey, we haven't seen the BMW yet of Stephen Marlowe, have we?
No, we haven't.
Well, that's worrying me because he was doing very well.
Yes, our rally leaders, but they are meant to be the penultimate car to come through. So we're just seeing, they seem to be in some
Adams
sort of different
Casey
order, so not quite the order that we originally had on our schedule. So, the MX-5, as you say, now going through of Roy Adams and Wayne Casey. They are going through now in their 2001 Mazda MX-5 NB.
Ooh.
Very nice machine. Certainly enjoying the sights and sounds of the Adelaide Hills. They currently sit inside the top 10. They are in position number 10 at the moment. They've accumulated, unfortunately, Nick, for them a lot of penalty points, 43 of which came in this stage. They were far too slow, actually. They were 43 seconds slow. I tell you what, it's better to be 43 seconds slow than 43 seconds fast. They'd certainly be accumulating a few points there, but it looks to me like they've erred on the side of caution through much of these stages, and they've been on the slower side on all but a couple of the stages, particularly the long ones. They're erring on the side of caution. Better to go slow than fast, but on some of them they've pretty much nailed it. So some stages they've looked really good, others not so much, but it's all about consistency in TSD.
Dan, we've missed something here because Marlowe and Wood did go through in the BMW 535, and they were just behind the MX-5, but just behind the Mini rather, and we must have just missed them in between cameramen. But according to Rally Safe, they're still in the hunt.
Well, that's probably a good thing to do actually in TSD. Fly under the radar. Well, it means that you are the most average person out there. Effectively, you are hitting the target times perfectly. You're not going too slow. You're not going too fast. You're not drawing attention. It's all about hitting the target times and staying out of trouble. I remember last year in just the 500-metre stage that was Strathalbyn, one of the TSD competitors on the Sunday in the Ferrari just absolutely let rip. And in a 500-metre stage, they collected 90 penalty points. I think they were 20 or something odd seconds too fast.
I think they might have decided they had nothing to lose. So,
correct.
They were already sunk. So let's just.
We might see that over the course of the weekend. By Sunday, a few of the lower-end TSD drivers might have given up and gone, I'll just blast through this stage.
Do fastest time of the day through the special stage. Yeah.
It's certainly been an exciting day here to kick things off, hasn't it? We saw a big, hairy moment for one of the Hyundai competitors early on in this stage, putting two wheels in the gravel on the outside of the fast right-hander. But I do believe, Nick, I can hear the noise of the 999 going through, which signals the very end of the stage. And what a day it has been.
It has been fantastic, Dan. So good to see all the classes grow, to see the contingent of Rally Pro drivers and competition drivers that we've got this year. Hoping that Jonathan Moyer can get back out there.
And Matt Selly.
Yeah. Now, the word is that John Moyer has had a problem with a dry sump pump. And there's a fellow in Adelaide named Roger Carroll who actually manufactures dry sumps for escorts. I don't know if it will work for a Millington, but I bet his crew will be on the phone to Roger tonight and just see if they can salvage what's going on. Flash Gordon from Flash Motorsport, John was telling me that crew are just so dedicated to the success of the car. They won't let something like that keep them down. They'll have, if they haven't got one in the truck, then they'll probably go and find one somehow.
Absolutely. Thanks ever so much, Nick Lenthal. There we can see just 20 minutes away the Adelaide CBD, but we'll be bringing you more from the Adelaide Hills tomorrow. Thanks ever so much for tuning in to day one of the 2025 Shannon's Adelaide Rally. As we speak, Hayden Padden has a comfortable margin in the rally ahead of Alex Rouleau. It's a Hyundai 1-2 at the head of the field, but local Oscar Matthews is not too far behind. We look forward to bringing you the first stage tomorrow, which will be at Hermitage at just after 9 o'clock. So we'll look forward to bringing you all of the action then. We'll see you bright and early on Saturday morning.
See you then.